Happy New Year! I hope that you had a really lovely Christmas and a great New Year. It's great to be back together again, back at Riverside House if you're here with us this morning, or wherever you're doing church today, in community groups or in your families at home. It's great that we can celebrate together as we start a new year. If you are in a group, it'd be great to get to know each other a bit more, or even if you're in your families, why don't you introduce yourselves and say maybe if you've got a New Year's resolution, or if you've got one thing or a word that you're going to focus on this year. I'm not really sure about mine, so I'm Melody. And for New Year, I think for this year, I just really would like to focus on being able to see all the good things around me, and that's my hope for this year. Hopefully you've had a chance to talk together about what your hopes are for this year, any New Year's resolutions, any plans that you've got, and it's time to go into a bit of a game and a challenge. So a little bit later on we'll be coming into our story, which this kind of connects in with a little bit, and we are going to have a game today where we create our own story. So each person goes around in your group or your family, wherever you are, saying one word, and all together you'll create a story. So should we try together?
Yeah.
I'll give you a little explanation. We haven't done this, we haven't rehearsed this yet, so we'll see what happens. Once
upon
a
time
there
lived
3
zebras.
The
Zebras
loved
trampolines.
so
They
bought
3.
Great, so you'll see what happens with your story, where it goes. It'd be great to hear what you come up with. Have fun, chance to pause it now and do that in your groups. So today, as we are starting a new year, we're going to start right at the beginning of the Bible, actually at the beginning of the Jesus Storybook Bible. So if you have one of these Bibles, grab it and open it right to the first story on page 12. And let's read this together. It's called The Story and the Song. The heavens are singing about how great God is. The skies are shouting it out. See what God has made. Day after day, night after night, they are speaking to us. God wrote, I love you. He wrote it in the sky and on the earth and under the sea. He wrote his message everywhere. Because God created everything in the world to reflect him like a mirror, to show us what he is like, to help us to know him, to make our hearts sing. The way a kitten chases her tail, the way red poppies grow wild, the way a dolphin swims. And God put it into words too, and wrote it in the book called the Bible. Now, some people think the Bible is a book of rules, telling you what you should and shouldn't do. The Bible does certainly have some rules in it. They show you how life works best. But the Bible isn't mainly about you and what you're doing. It's about God and what he has done. Other people think that the Bible is a book of heroes, showing you people you should copy. The Bible does have some heroes in it, but as you'll soon find out, most of the people in the Bible aren't heroes at all. They make some big mistakes, sometimes on purpose. They get afraid and run away. At times, they are downright mean. No, the Bible isn't a book of rules or a book of heroes. The Bible is most of all a story. It's an adventure story about a young hero who comes from a faraway country to win back his lost treasure. It's a love story about a brave prince who leaves his palace, his throne, everything, to rescue the one he loves. It's like the most wonderful of fairy tales that has come true in real life. Yes, you see, the best thing about the story is it's true. There are lots of stories in the Bible, but all the stories are telling one big story. The story of how God loves his children and comes to rescue them. It takes the whole Bible to tell us this story. And at the centre of the story, there is a baby. Every story in the Bible whispers his name. He's like the missing piece of a puzzle, the piece that makes all the other pieces fit together. And suddenly you see a beautiful picture. And this is no ordinary baby. This is the child upon whom everything would depend. This is the child who would one day, but wait, our story starts where all good stories start, right at the beginning. And what a story to start our year on. And there are so many great things to talk about and think about from that story together that you can in your groups. I really like at the beginning where it says that God wrote "I love you" in the sky and everywhere and all around us. I wonder where you see God saying "I love you" around your life today. Why don't you talk about that in your groups? Where do you see God saying "I love you"? And maybe how this year could you notice that more each day? As we start a new year, we're going to do something that helps us reflect on the year that's gone by and think about God in this new year to come. So you need to get a really big piece of paper if you're in a big group, or just a piece of paper if you're at home on your own, wherever, and put it in the middle and scribble all over it and think about all of the things that have happened in the past year, all of the mistakes maybe that you've made, all of the things maybe that you've done on purpose that you knew were wrong or not in God's way. And you can scribble, you could write or draw it if you want to, or just scribble as a sign of all of those things in the year that's gone by. And then we're going to get some white paint out and take your shoes and your socks off, roll your trousers up, and put your feet in white paint, and everyone can do that all together and make sure that the white paint is covering all of those scribbles. And that's as a sign of God's forgiveness over us, that he sees us, whatever we have done, whatever mistakes over the past year, he sees it as a fresh slate. It says that his mercies are new each morning. Isn't that amazing? So we can celebrate that together, create a beautiful white paint white sheet again, wash your feet, dry them off, and then you can get out some beautiful colours, and with your paintbrushes you can splash them or put it all over that white paint, making beautiful kind of stars and shininess that just is a sign of all of the beauty that God creates out of even our mess, and the hope of the beauty that he's going to create in us and around us in this year to come. So why don't you have a go and get really creative and probably a little bit messy with that craft today. To finish our first session of 2022, we're going to say some thank you prayers for the year that has been 2021, and maybe even this Christmas bit that's been over the last few weeks. And so we're going to do some popcorn prayers. So what you do is you crouch down really small on the ground, and then you pop up and shout out something that you're thankful for this year. So I would pop up and shout out, I'm thankful for my nephew Gideon being born, and that's one of the things I'm thankful for this year. So go around in your groups or in your families and do little popcorn prayers, praising God for all of the great things that have happened in this past year. It's been great to share with you again this week. Hope you have a great week, and looking forward to being back at Tally Ho next week.